Thank you all for being here. We're going to get started first with our land and labor acknowledgement. As an organization that serves artists across Washington State, our work crosses many ancestral lands and tribal borders. We honor the first people of this state, past and present. We also recognize that our offices and the homes of many of us joining today are on the traditional land of the first people of Seattle and honor with gratitude the Duwamish tribe. We acknowledge that we benefit from the prosperity of the United States, which was built on the labor of enslaved people. Please join us in expressing our deepest respect and gratitude for the descendants of those who have built this country. Now, let me introduce my friend and fellow board member, Marge Levy, who is our co-auction chair.
I'll tell you, it's wonderful to see so many of you here. I've got a couple of tables of friends, but I realize there are friends of Artists Trust throughout this room, so it's great that you're here. So thank you for coming. Many years ago, the Artists Trust Brunch began, and then it morphed into an evening gala. And now I am thrilled because I can't stay up past 9 o'clock anymore. But Sunday around midday, I'm really good. And I'm so glad they've done that. All of you are members of the community of Artists Trust. In the room, we have artists, we have donors, we have collectors, we have friends, we have scholars, and we have lovers of stuff and images and stories. And bless you all for being and being here. I hope today, but by being here, and frankly being anywhere, you will feel a deeper connection to the Artists Trust community. I've always felt that very, very deeply, and I hope that you will feel that too. I'm here to introduce our first performer, Naeim Rahmani. Naeim is an award-winning classical guitarist. He emigrated to the United States from Iran when he was a teenager. He brought with him nothing except his passion for guitar. He now performs throughout the United States and internationally, and is a recipient of a 2019 Gap Award from Artists Trust. Welcome, Naeim.
I'm excited to introduce our next performer, Jovino Santos Neto. Jovino received an Artist Trust Fellowship Award in 2022 and 2012, was a recipient of a 2021 Grants for Artists Progress Award. He is a 3-time Latin Grammy nominee, a master pianist, flautist, composer, arranger, conductor, and educator from Rio de Janeiro. He can be heard around the world as a piano soloist, working with symphony orchestras, jazz big bands, chamber music groups, or playing with the Seattle-based Quintetto and Trio. Welcome, Jovino. We're so glad to have you with us.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jovino. Let's give him another round of applause. Beautiful. Hello, my name is Lydia Boss, and I am one of the co-program directors here at Artist Trust. I also am a visual artist and want to just reiterate how happy I am to be here amongst all of you today.
And I am Luther Hughes, also program co-director with Liddy here. I'm a poet and editor, and I'm born and raised in Seattle, which is very rare. So, go my parents. It is my extreme pleasure to introduce our next wonderful artist, who is Anastacia Renee, queer writer, educator, artist, speaker, and podcaster. She was a Seattle Civic Poet from 2017 to 2019 and was the recipient of the James W. Ray Distinguished Artist Award in 2018. In a poem, Anastacia writes, "Whatever you believe it will be, and you believe this because you have survived so many deaths." Anastacia is a writer of faith, but not religious faith. Her writing is a faith in surviving. Her writing wrestles with history in ways that uproot and unhinge what we thought America was or is. She reminds us that our bodies, Black bodies, though filled with trauma passed down from generation to generation, are bodies of beauty, are bodies of goodwill and strength, survival, perseverance. Anastacia's writing truly embodies life. Please welcome the ever so brilliant Anastacia Renee.
I am so honored to be here, and I just have to welcome into this space all of our ancestors. Everybody in this room has ancestors. Those are the people who are not here, who because of them, you are here. So I want to bring into the space everyone's ancestors. I'd like to bring into the space the writing ancestors. One of my favorite writing ancestors is the Lord, Audre Lorde. And I'd like to bring into the space Nina Simone. Yeah. I'd like to bring into the space Pasqua and all the other artists. We owe those artists and writers. This is a luxury. What a luxury with everything going on in the world to be here, having brunch, chatting, in person, hugging, crying, laughing, shooting the shit on a beautiful Sunday. What a luxury and an honor it is. I cannot read remarks or recite poems until I say that. And lastly, I want to thank Artist Trust for what you are doing. No matter what happens today, you will continue to do it. And that is something we should all be grateful and thankful for. Because of the generosity of Artist Trust, I was able to bring to life my social justice art installation, Don't Be Absurd, Alice in Parts to life at the Fry. You have no idea what it was like to make work in the middle of a pandemic, not even knowing if anyone was gonna come see it. The possibility of museums being closed, of everything being closed. And still, I had a desire to make art. I had a desire to write. When you are an artist, your desire is always there. And so, the idea that I could continue to make art because of Artist Trust meant so much to me during a pandemic. And so I am forever grateful. When I got the call that I won the award, I told the person who told me, "Shut the front door." To which she replied, no, really, you're the winner. And I just kept saying, "Shut the front door." I cannot even believe it. I was honored. And As a mid-career writer slash artist, I'd already been through so much racism, sexism, homophobia, and though I'm not ancient, ageism. And I was in awe that an organization decided to actually see me and show me through action how they saw me. Been around numerous organizations who tout diversity and equity and inclusion, and they talk about all the things they do for artists, but artist trust is a verb. It's a verb. And so I want to thank you for that. I had planned to read one piece, and I asked my wife, Naakua, I said, what should I do, babe? Which one should I do? So she gave me the suggestion of which one to do, but in my mind, I was like, no, I don't want to do that one. I don't want to do that one. I don't want to do that one. But if you know Naakua is always right. Plus, she's my wife. So I'm going to do what Naakua said to do. And thank you, Luther and Lydia, for welcoming me, for seeing me. Can you all hear me without the mic? No. Such a poet. All right. What a poet does. A poet does not wish to be silent or complacent. A poet does not wish to be arrogant or look at me, look what I've done, look at my shoes, look at my shirt, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. A poet doesn't want to be next up or up and coming. A poet just is. A poet does not wish to cradle commercialized stanzas or rock them to the beat of appropriation. A poet does not want to be a gentrified building in the city's oldest neighborhood. A poet does not want to be a missile misfiring, a war machine, or hang out in the war room. Caution, though, a poet will fight. What happens when a poet can't breathe? A poet grows tired of the repetition of dead bodies. A poet grows tired of the repetition of dead bodies. A poet grows so tired of the repetition of dead bodies and lost institutions. A poet grows tired of art begging to be kept alive. A poet will live. A poet stays awake contemplating, counting ways to be the highest self or better than the last thing they've ever been. Best believe there is a poet pondering right now upon a poet's greatness. A poet praying to Audre Lorde. A poet writes the ugly. A poet does not filter reports and might say it's not beautiful, but it happened. A poet grows tired of the repetition of dead bodies. A poet grows tired of the repetition of dead bodies and the news. A poet grows tired. A poet grows tired of mourning and death porn. Caution, though, a poet will remind you. A poet will name all the synonyms for transition like constellations or moons, movement, passage, change from one position, state, stage, subject, concept, etc. to another. Change. A poet will change on you. A poet will scream for good measure and hug for no apparent reason. A poet will teach you. A poet will learn. A poet will hide fear or disappointment or happiness in the crook of somebody else's mediocre neck to let them be the poet. A poet is not afraid to have lipstick on her teeth or spill a drink on her cape. Sweetie, a poet will always save you. A poet values the ideas of others. A poet honors the youth. A poet honors the ancestors. A poet honors the elders. A poet honors you. A poet is not afraid to spend quality time with either. A poet is not interested in ageism for fashion or what to put on. A poet wants their words to outshine everything. Do you see my alphabet as your accessory? A poet does not want to be worn or taken off. A poet just is. A poet will live, a poet will remind you, a poet will tell the truth, and a poet will love and love and love, even in the repetition of dead bodies. A poet will love you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kamari Bright. I am a video poet, multimedia artist.
My name is Juan Alonso Rodriguez. I'm a visual artist. I like to draw, I like to paint, I like to design sculpture.
My name is Ahamefle Jeoluo. I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I play the trumpet, I compose, arrange, I write jokes and perform them on stage and write them for TV shows and movies and such.
I'm from the Midwest and I didn't see art as a viable option. And I think having access to this type of funding makes it possible for me to be an artist and not have to just work to live. Now I can live to do the work that I do. It can be used for expansion. And just having that space to play is pivotal, especially for someone like me who's still emerging. This year, I was awarded the 2022 Fellowship Award for Black Artists. It's the first iteration of this award. For me to be specifically a Black artist, I think that means that I utilize my history and my story in my artwork. And I create based on my experience and my identity, just like every other artist.
You know, every artist has different things that they have had access to and haven't had access to. You know, for me, I grew up extremely poor. I didn't have private instruction. I didn't have a lot of these like space, time, and equipment resources. Getting the Artist Trust Arts Innovator Award, which, you know, was an unrestricted award, and that was like the seed money to build this studio in the woods. It allowed me to like catch up. It allowed me to like catch up on all these things that due to the way that I grew up, you know, I didn't have access to.
The governmental organizations in our region can't do everything. So it's really nice to have this nonprofit that's constantly on top of things and always changing. You can't support someone the right way unless you hear from the people that you're trying to support. I like the fact that Artist Trust changed when COVID hit because it was necessary. It was necessary, you know, for people to have some like immediate emergency funds. You know, the world is always changing and the arts community is always changing as well.
We reflect the times and the things that we see. And I think because of that, we have to be connected to our environment and the world around us. I really started to see the importance of connection for artists and the art community's connectedness in the pandemic. We saw people who were taking out of their own to make sure that the community was okay.
The silver lining of this whole thing is that people are hungry. Coming out of the pandemic, you see these like little, you know, bright lights of things that you're like, how is this happening? How is this existing? And there might be ways in which, you know, all of the horror that we've experienced with this pandemic, there are some things that grow out of it.
I need to concentrate on the things that I can solve. And in order for me to be able to solve those problems, I need to be doing something that puts me at peace. And coming to work and just making art, I'm putting my, you know, 2 grains of positive sand into the pot.
There's a misconception that the arts isn't necessary or that it's an additive, but I believe art has a utility to it. It makes life more than just the processes of sustaining or surviving. Art chronicles history. It's an important part of our evolution and our being. So to even think about not supporting that at any moment, like it's giving up on the beauty of all that is around us.
Hello again. Hello, hello. Thank you, Anastacia, for that wonderful reading and those kind words. And to Brad Curran for that wonderful video. It captures just some of the things we do here at Artist Trust. So to Brad, thank you as well. So, like we said, we are co-program directors, and as directors, program co-directors, we touch and talk to and work with a lot of artists across Washington State.
So, since the pandemic started, Artist Trust has given out more funds than ever before. With over $1.4 million, we've reached thousands of artists through funding, programs, and resources. But truly, this could not have happened without our incredible community and the support that you all provide us with. Each of you in this room is a vital part of that community, and we are so grateful to be here with you all today. This community pushes us to grow and to learn and to be better, and that is exactly what we have been doing. Artists were among the first to feel the financial impacts of the pandemic, and unfortunately are still among the last to receive sustaining support. While we can all agree that it's artists who will help us to imagine a better and a brighter future, it's more clear than ever that artists are in need, and not just because they are artists, but because they are human.
The support Artist Trust provides allows artists to be their whole self, not just as artist Lydia said, but artists are someone's friend or someone's family, partner, child, parent, right? And so they're just more than just being an artist, they are human beings. We support artists so they can do work that we look to when we need to be inspired or to feel reprieve or when we need joy or happiness, right? Artists are at the center of all of our lives, whether we know it or not. We are so grateful to each and every one of you for being here and hope you will lend your support so we can continue to support artists as the leaders that they are.
So you may be wondering at this time how you can support artists and Artist Trust, perhaps, might be on your mind. We are doing things a little bit differently this year, and we've made it super easy for each of you to be able to give if you should so choose. Instead of raising your bid numbers today, you can donate using your phone that may be right at your side. So you can take out your phone, or on your program there is a QR code that you can scan. If you choose to use your phone, you can text SUPPORT AT to 888-662-1636. I'm going to repeat that just for fun. 888-662-1636. Also, we have a couple of incredible members of our Artist Trust staff who are floating around the room. They're raising their hands there in the back. If you need support, you can grab a member of our team, and we are here to help.
All donations today will be matched by our generous friends, the Chlorophine Foundation and Susan Wagner. A donation of any size will make a difference.
Thank you for being here with us and for supporting artists.
Thank you.
So one more time, Brian and Grace are in the back. If you don't have a phone or you would not like to donate with a QR code, they would be more than happy to help you. And I would just like to thank the rest of some important folks who helped us make today's event possible. Our lead donors for today are Christopher and Alita Latham, Maddie Iverson, Jill and Raj Singh. Our benefactor and philanthropist ticket holders are Lee Campbell, Anthony Gipe, and Terry Kinjo. And our donors, Paula Stokes, Cezanne Garcia, and David Grossman, Dow Built, Traver Gallery, Jay Reinhardt Gallery, Christina Getz, Vivian Phillips, Juan Alonso, and Marge Levy. We appreciate every gift you give in support of artists. Please keep them coming so we can keep supporting artists. Thank you so much for coming out today. We really appreciate your support.